is the greatest thrill of my life. I'm king of the world.
Now that we've summarized the past couple months, let's go ahead and get started with our potential breakouts video, because it is, obviously it's disappointing that Bitcoin's at 8,000, but that is an opportunity for those of you that know how to actually trade within these lower lows and buying in the red and then selling in the green. So we're going to be taking a look at some very important support levels for Bitcoin. As y'all can see right now, we've got 3 already drawn out. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of speed things up a little bit just for y'all so you can have a better idea of what we're dealing with right now. And you can see we've got the 8,200, the 7,900, and the 6,000 level to watch. And we've got this Fibonacci retracement. I'm actually going to go ahead and redraw this Fibonacci retracement for y'all with some lower lows, because you can see with this red, it's going to be really hard to really use that Fibonacci retracement. That's kind of outdated at this point. So I'll actually go ahead and draw out another Fibonacci retracement. But welcome to the live stream. Everybody's laughing at the beginning. Yes, that was fairly funny. Shout out to Reddit, all those memes. So we're going to go ahead and draw out this Fibonacci retracement. And this is going to give you a better idea of what we're looking at here. So now that you can see the Fibonacci levels, you can see we're correcting here to the 0.38, at least what happened in February. And this was February 6th where we saw 6,000. And now we've got these next 3 support levels that we're really going to be watching here. And as you can see, we just broke through the 38, so we're going to head down to the 23 in terms of the Fibonacci retracement. If you don't know, these colors are going to be potential support and resistance zones. So these are really what we're going to be focusing on over the next couple of days. Who do we got online right now? We got Abshik, Web Advancer, Vardy, Voodoo Red said, "What's up?" F Google said, "What's up?" Silver String said, "Good vid." Shout out to Peter, Walker, Naren, Don, Adam, Ahmed, Peter, Josiah's in the house. We got the Nightbot here. Hopefully Joe ain't here. He's going to get a little mad. Don Sayer, Azumi. Man, we got Mr. Cotton here too. Tech81, Tom Comins. How do you say it? Comins or Commons? Ron Adarle. Peter is here too. Another Peter. Independent Alternative Medias of Australia. That sounds a little complex, man. I feel humbled that you're watching. Let's go ahead and pop the LaCroix. We're going to be taking questions, but more importantly, we're going to be talking about where is it going to be the best time to actually go ahead and buy into Bitcoin and all these other altcoins that we're going to be focused on. And by the way, I do want to mention, some people are talking about the FUD with the FCC and how now they've pretty much told exchanges that if they deem a security or a coin as a security, that they have to delist that. And now you have all this FUD of people saying, okay, all these Chinese exchanges and all these global exchanges are going to start delisting a ton of coins, which is obviously going to drive liquidity out of the market. But in my opinion, it's going to drive liquidity to Bitcoin. And this is where I want to kind of get a little bit more complex, because I don't really get to talk about so much fundamentals. And I've had such a long time in the traditional markets that I understand all of these different aspects of the market, but sometimes it takes questions to pick that out of my brain. So I want you to understand Bitcoin is probably one of the safest coins in terms of going against the FCC to be considered a security, quote unquote. And if you don't know what a security is, Bitcoin doesn't necessarily meet the guidelines to be considered a security. Really the prime test, like the primary test to determine a security, is actually called the Howey test. So I actually think I have my tab pulled up. I was looking at it today. Yeah, I do have it still up here. Shout out to whatever this website is. So this is the Howey test. So it's pretty much a 4-point test. I'm not going to go through it. I was actually just doing that on my own. But the Howey test pretty much deems an asset security or not. And Bitcoin just doesn't fit the criteria because it wasn't ever created to be a storage of value. When it was first conceptualized, it was more so this novelty, not novelty item, but it was a peer-to-peer currency in a way, but not necessarily something to hold or invest in, or in layman or I guess advanced terms, it wasn't any sort of like capital equity. There wasn't, investors investing money in hopes of creating returns, which is what a security is deemed as. So Bitcoin is really one of the safest assets, in my opinion, in this market, at least not being deemed a security. Therefore, the FCC announcement is not necessarily going to apply to Bitcoin more so than it'll apply to all of these other coins. Now, there's other coins like Ethereum, right? Ethereum raised funds. They had the ICO. That now can play into the Howey test and be considered a security, in which now the regulations will have to apply to some of the other coins. So it's really a complex situation, but in my opinion, there really isn't fundamentally anything different about Bitcoin right now. There hasn't really been any sort of major announcements. It's obviously being oversold right now, and it's obviously not the end of the bubble, because guess what? The dot-com bubble was $3 trillion. This is just a small part of the bigger bubble, the speculative value, right? Because we're watching something that's all being built upon speculative value rather than intrinsic value, because there's obviously no sort of true intrinsic value for Bitcoin just yet, because it's really our society that doesn't know what it's worth because of the fact that it hasn't been around long enough to see enough use case. So with that being said, anyways, I don't know if you guys like these rants. Let's get into some technical analysis. I do want to pull out this one day, now that we've talked about these support levels. Obviously, a lot of them have to do really with the previous support levels that we've seen, and more so importantly, watching these Fibonacci retracement levels to deem whether or not we're going to see a little bit more of a pullback here with Bitcoin, which we're certainly going to see that. It's going to consolidate and most likely hit that 8,200, see a little bit of some support, might have another bull trap, and then kind of determine whether or not it's going to break that flag or not. And it's pretty simple what we're watching right now. There's also a horizontal channel forming that I want y'all to be aware of, because this is a huge opportunity for those of you that know how to swing trade properly. And it's really easy to swing trade a horizontal channel because you really just have to take advantage of the highs and lows. And I'll go ahead and draw out that channel so y'all can have an idea of what I'm talking about here. But we have a channel forming here like right around the $11,900 range, all the way down to around that 6,000, but I would even call it right here on the one day around 6,900 is really where the support of that channel is forming. And I'm going to be watching this channel, because if this coin starts to go horizontal, right, and we start to see more horizontal price movement, in my opinion, that's going to be a good thing for a swing trader, because the swing trader knows how to take advantage of the lows and highs, and we can easily take advantage of Bitcoin multiple times, just like we did when it hit 6,000 then bounced right back up to 11.9. We were able to go ahead and buy low, either dollar cost average your position in to stay safe. Watch the RSI on the one day. That's also a great indicator. You can see you would have been able to buy it right at the bottom if you were just watching the RSI, and then waiting for that to swing back up, get overbought, then go back down, oversold, overbought, oversold, taking advantage of those swings. And that right there is a very profitable way to trade Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks. But the question is, where are the potential breakouts going to lie? And I think Bitcoin is going to be one of them, obviously. However, I don't think it's just going to come yet. I think we really need to watch Bitcoin to see whether or not it is going to go ahead and find support alongside one of these support lines, until we go ahead and deem it a safe swing trade or safe investment at this point, because you never want to catch a falling knife. What's the point of catching a falling knife? Something that's dropping in value, what's the point of catching it if you know it's going down? You only want to invest in something that you have some sort of optimism for. Unless you're shorting Bitcoin, unless you're an experienced trader, you know how to take advantage of swings, you would have been blown out of the market if you bought right here 2 days ago, saw the green yesterday, but then held on to it until it dropped today. You would have been blown out the market, right? So you have to have either a little bit of experience, and if not, short Bitcoin. If you're not shorting, be patient, right? It doesn't hurt to be patient. It doesn't hurt to have fiat on the side, and that's one thing I definitely want to talk about. Ardash said, I do swing trading with Encash for the last 2 days. Good for you, brother. Ardash said, up 13 BNB coins. That is awesome. Cousin Floridian said, do I just go into fiat when BTC goes down, then go back to BTC when it goes up? I would say get into BTC when it's down, and then get into fiat when Bitcoin's up. You want to buy in the red and sell in the green. Bread said, hi, I'm from Santa Monica. Let's get coffee and talk crypto. Hey, man, hit me up. Yanni said, Bitcoin is forming the same pattern now as it did during the all-time high, so it will hit 10K again, then go back down. I don't know what you're talking about, Yoni. Why would it hit 10K? Where's the... I'm not trying to put you down here, but where's the fundamental analysis to that? Like 10K, let's go ahead and draw a line. Let's take Yanni's advice here. 10K right here. This is 10K. Where's 10K anywhere in the fundamental sense? It's not in a Fibonacci. I don't know. 10K? What the heck is 10K? There's nothing. Oh my god. You know what's even funnier? When we first hit 10K, we blew right past it. We've never seen Bitcoin act as a support or a resistance at 10K. What are you talking about, Yanni? Come on, hit me up on Twitter with a graph. Show me the fundamentals behind that and the technical analysis behind that. That's hilarious. Look at it. The 10K mark is like totally irrelevant in this technical analysis. In any technical analysis, there's no way to prove 10K as any... That is hilarious. Oh my god. Oh yeah, look, we found support here at 10K one time. Oh, Yanni, I got you. Now I know what you're talking about. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, look, it's such a strong level because it definitely hit it more than twice, right? When you're looking at support levels, you have to look at something that hits it at least twice, at least minimum twice. It's called confirmation. That's why this channel right now that's forming this if you look at the logarithmic chart, you can see a little bit of a different type of view. But looking at this, chart, you can see we've got resistance confirmation, but not support confirmation, which is what we're waiting for. Sorry to put you down, yeah. I'm just saying, where is the technicals in that behind that? Somebody said, "Are you rich?" Carlos Romero, I would not consider myself rich. I just like to give my 2 cents. And that's about it. Rich to me is, at a higher level. I mean, rich, in my opinion, I've seen rich, and rich is rich. There's actually a house in Malibu in California, and it's this huge palace that goes up a hill. I think it's a museum now. Maybe the guy from Santa Monica knows what I'm talking about. Somebody said, Yoni is probably drunk as F. Jorge Gomez, you're funny. Jonathan B said that's a psychological number, but it never psychologically affected Bitcoin, right? 10K was never... when I remember, I'll be really honest, I admit my mistakes. At 10K, I've probably made 2 bad calls so far. I made a recent one. I didn't think we would go back into that flag. That was one bad call. I predicted Bitcoin's bottom. I predicted the top here. The only thing that I messed up on was a while back at 10K, I thought we were going to see resistance because it is a psychological number. It is a big even. If you don't know what a big even is, 20,000 was the big even for Bitcoin in which it did drop. That was a psychological level. 10,000 wasn't enough, and I'll tell you exactly why, and I learned from my mistake. You always learn from your mistakes as a trader, but the volume was so high for Bitcoin around that level that it had no chance to find resistance at 10K. And I was not, I'll be honest, I was not watching the volume when I thought about, where Bitcoin was headed at the time, and it blew right past 10K. I thought we were going to see some huge resistance there because it is a big even. You're right with that. But at the same time, it's never acted in any sort of, correlation to 10K as a support or even a resistance. So somebody says, Bollinger Bands on Bitcoins. We don't have the Bollinger Bands pulled up right now. Yulia says, that mean not buy BTC? Obviously not. If you're getting our alerts, you know what I'm talking about. I did a podcast today. I talked to you guys about what not just me, but our analysts and what we're, predicting right now. We actually have a new analyst here. He's pretty stout on, his predictions. He's been very, very predictable. His name is Crypto Staker. And if you actually go to our analyst corner here, you can see he just kind of pops in and out and just kind of gives his predictions. And I think at one point he said 6118 on or before 17th of March. I love when this, the analysts, they give you like exact predictions as if like they know exactly when things are going to happen. JPEG said, is there a night owl? Yes, we will have a ruby and a buff. Mastermind, yes. Yoni says, I didn't mean 10K exactly, just in the 9.5 to 10K range. It is a clear prior resistance. Well, of course, yeah. I mean, we're definitely looking at these levels, Yanni. I mean, if you really want to get the resistance there, it's 9,400, but that's really where we saw resistance when we saw this uprise in price yesterday. You can see if we pull up the 4-hour, we rose to right about that 9,400 level, and then we saw resistance. That already happened. Sorry, but it happened already. It's not going to happen again, So sometimes people have to kind of bring more sense to themselves. And we might go back up a little bit higher, but it's not going to hit 9,400 again. If it goes back, the flag, understand when you have a flag, the resistance is constantly descending. With a constant descending flag, you're going to see resistance levels start to drop. That's why at first we saw resistance here around 10.7, but now we saw resistance here around 9.2, 9.3, and we're going to continue to see resistance at lower levels. And that's kind of what I'm talking about when I say we're at a horizontal pattern now, because at one point this flag will eventually be deemed useless, and then what we're going to start watching is this horizontal pattern. And I'm already watching this horizontal pattern before most traders are, because most traders are still focused on the flag when I'm focused on this horizontal pattern, because this is where you can trade the lows and highs and really find some profit if you're really good at finding those lows and highs. So that's Bitcoin for you. Let's go ahead and transition into the next big dog that everybody's talking about, which is Ethereum. And this is going to be important because I talked about Ethereum yesterday seeing a little bit more further downside, which it did, for a very simple reason. And I'll tell you exactly what that is. If you look at this RSI, we have yet to hit bottom, but we've been under 40. 40 is deemed a very bearish RSI level. So if we were to pull this up and go ahead and draw the support or the resistance here on the RSI, you can see we found a little bit of resistance here right around 48. And then this is where we found some support right at 40 until we dropped right down under. So you can see 40 is right over here. And then that's where we found a little bit of support. And then you can see eventually we dropped down under. Now we're starting to see levels consistently under 40, which is extremely bearish. So at this point, you want to wait for Ethereum to hit bottom under 30, and that's when I think we'll have a little bit of a potential breakout. Not necessarily something that's going to change the overall 5 to 10 day trend, but something that can certainly affect and influence the 1 to 2 day trend, which is what you saw yesterday with about 9 to 12% gains with most of the top 10 coins in the major altcoins that have large caps, and then mid caps and small caps typically react a lot slower than the large and mid cap coins that have a lot more liquidity. So if you look at Bitcoin, for example, that's the coin that always reacts the fastest. So that's pretty much what I'm physically waiting for here with Ethereum. And as you all know, we have had a lot of fiat on the side, just waiting to go ahead and hit this as soon as we start to know exactly where that bottom is going to form. If we were to draw out the Fibonacci retracement on Ethereum as well, you can see how we're finding that support right along that, it looks like, yep, the 0.38 Fibonacci retracement, in which if we break that support, I think that's going to be enough to bring Ethereum to the oversold levels where you'll see RSI drop under 30. We'll see the Fibonacci retracement go under 0.38, and at that point, what you'll see for the most part is one of these wicks draw out here. So this is probably what we're going to see. I don't think it's going to drop all the way down to the 0.38. I don't think it has that much room to be oversold, and I'll tell you exactly why. If you look at the MACD, you can see here with the histogram, you've got you've got sellers, you've got a high seller amount, and this is something you don't typically see, by the way. You don't typically see the reverse order of sellers. So you start with less and then see higher. Typically, it looks like Bitcoin's MACD, which I'll pull up right here, where you'll start to see sellers decrease, right? Because sellers will come in all at once and panic sell, and then you start to see that decrease. And this is how we were able to predict that Bitcoin, because you can see sellers started to decrease. As soon as you start seeing these histograms starting to get lower and lower, that's showing you that the sellers are weakening, because there's not always, there's not unlimited amounts of sellers. If we pull up the ETH USD chart, you can see with the MACD here, it's the opposite. It's gaining sellers. You can see we had a little bit of buying, but not enough to overtake the amount of sellers that were in the market. But this right here definitely ousted a lot of these sellers, and now we're seeing a little bit more sell volume. So I can certainly see Ethereum seeing a little bit more downside before really starting to cross. And what I'd be waiting for is right here for the MACD. You've got the fast line and the slow line. The blue represents the fast line, and you want to set your values properly, by the way. So if you're using the MACD, set your values at 12 and 26. 12 for the fast length, 26 for the slow length. Once you set those up, you get your signal smoothing always typically will stay at 9, and you'll see this right here start to curve back up, and that's really where you're going to go ahead and start to see Ethereum potentially going to swing back, and that's really where that potential breakout will occur. And I think we'll see about a 12 to 18% breakout before we start seeing lower lows if Bitcoin continues to consolidate to the third support line that we've drawn out. So if we were to look at this right now, you can see how we're drawing this a little bit back, and it's probably going to go ahead and swing back that way. Somebody said, how much sugar is in that soda? Tony, it's not soda, bro. It is actually called LaCroix, and it is guilt-free soda because it's carbonated water or sparkling water alongside with some essence flavor. So that essence flavor is like the eucalyptus oil that you put in a steam room. It's like extremely potent, but it's very, effective to your body, I guess you call it. I mean, it doesn't like do anything. It's not like salt or sugar. There's no sodium. It literally has 0, 0, 0 everything. This is the best thing in the world. If you've never tried LaCroix, this is a sponsorship paid for and advertised by LaCroix. I'm just kidding. They don't sponsor this, but maybe they do. What are the side effects of having carbonation? Your pee really hurts. So that's why you don't want to drink too much of it, Voodoo. Just drink a little bit at a time. I like to do the either or. So that means it's either this or regular water. And then once I drink this, I have to drink the regular water. So I don't like to have just two options of carbonated beverages because I don't drink soda. This is all I drink in terms of carbonation. And then I always drink regular water. Tony said, keep up the good work. Thank you, brother. Barney Gordon said, why am I still here? Well, get out, Barney. We don't need you. Abby said, ha, 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 ha. Matt Fiskelin said, picked up some ETH at 642. We're going to see a little bit further downside, too. You can see we had a double top here at the MACD, curved back twice. You can see buyers are extremely lacking here. And in my opinion, we need a little bit more of that to see any sort of further upside. Josiah said, get ready to see LaCroix ads before your video now. That would be awesome. BM said, LaCroix is the most disgusting drink I've ever tried. You must like a lot of soda then. So you're the unhealthy type, BM. F Google said, Naeem, we hit under 28 RSI on ETH 3/8/18/21. Well, did we on the 1 day? Let's see. Maybe my screen is not showing that. I don't see that. No, not at all. Not on mine. Absolutely not. Here we did. This was the last time we hit under 30 was right around, it looks to be September 14th. We've never hit under 30 since then, brother. I don't know what you're talking about, man. At least not on my chart. I might be looking at something different, but you might be looking at the ETH BTC chart. Somebody says, thoughts on Bitcoin maximalists? That's a whole conversation, Mike. Crypto says, hey, Naeem, Kifek man from Cyprus. What up, Cyprus? That's awesome, bro. That is awesome. Somebody says, I killed ETH yesterday thanks to your tips, bro. Thank you. You're very welcome, Cash Kids. Listen, when you get more and more perspectives, you're going to become more knowledgeable. I highly recommend all of you get perspective. Don't just settle for one perspective. Learn from everyone because you're going to get more of an understanding of what you're looking at, where you can start putting in those trades and going ahead and making some more profits. Somebody says, it's the secret stuff. I guess so. Jointer Pro asked a good question. Please explain 24-hour volume change, money out as well. So high number, not always a good sign. Absolutely. You know, looking at volume, we are lacking volume. You can see here, we pretty much had volume pretty much like peak out right around here where we saw one of the largest buying seasons here. But now you can see volume is pretty much down overall. If we were to look at this volume, you can see how we're a lot less than where we were previously, and we're definitely going to need more volume to see Ethereum or Bitcoin go to higher highs, and that's really what we're going to be watching. So let's pull up the next one here, LTC. This is an interesting chart here compared to Ethereum and Bitcoin. It looks a lot different in a lot of ways. We'll actually go ahead and clear this one out, and we'll redraw this pattern here so you can see a little bit of how we actually draw out these patterns. First, we're going to use the Fibonacci retracement so we can determine support and resistance. And then as you can see here with Ethereum, or Litecoin, I'm sorry, you can see where price levels are really correlating there with the Fibonacci retracement, which is why I think Fibonacci retracement is such an important indicator always use when you have your patterns drawn out, because it's so important to know where those fib lines are, the 0.38 and the 0.23, act as very important consolidation levels, and typically when you see some sort of a run up, you'll correct back down to the 0.50. So you can see here how we corrected to the 0.50. This is very important. So you can see we peaked out and then corrected right to that 0.50. You'll see that happen quite a bit often, especially why you want to use the Fibonacci retracement when you see any sort of exuberant run up or even any sort of sharp decline, because it'll also tell you where you're probably going to start to see a little bit of a run up before you see even further decline, depending on whether or not it is a bearish trend or a bullish trend. So looking at this right now, what I'll tell you is with Litecoin, we are at these lower Fibonacci retracement levels, and I'm very bullish about Litecoin over the next couple of weeks. I just think that Litecoin needs to go ahead and detach itself from Bitcoin finally and act as its own entity. I think a lot of coins need to start doing that, because I think we're seeing further downside for Litecoin and the USD valuation because of Bitcoin. Obviously, it's the mamma jamma. It's the main one. And by the way, when I was talking about the Howey test and Bitcoin not being deemed a security, that also applies to Litecoin, right? Litecoin is also not going to be deemed a security, in my opinion, because it was never made to be an investment protocol. It was never made to be any sort of investment equity. It wasn't a security. It's just not. And Bitcoin wasn't either. Now you see coins come up. They want to raise funds. They want to have investors. That's what a security is going to be deemed as, and those are the coins that are most likely going to be regulated by the FCC, and that's that recent announcement that we heard from the FCC. And in my opinion, exchanges are going to be more weary of these coins, because if they're going to be regulated in the US and a lot of their users are in the US, it's going to be quite a battle there between the exchanges and the regulatory implementations of the United States of America. So somebody says, will LTC still be relevant when Bitcoin Lightning is implemented? Yeah, of course. Understand this. When Bitcoin was around, when I knew about Bitcoin, I bought my first Bitcoin around 2010. There were companies that literally only focused on microtransactions of Bitcoin. Those companies all went out of business when transaction fees started soaring through the roof, and now you have to pay a couple dollars for every transaction where it's not feasible anymore for micropayments. But back then, there were companies that literally only focused on, there was one company I remember, they were incentivizing other creators on YouTube, on Reddit, on all these different platforms using Bitcoin by doing super small micropayments to these users. So I don't know if any of y'all know what I'm talking about, but there were tons of different companies that had this implementation where they would go ahead and do these microcosm transactions using Bitcoin, and it was so feasible and it was fine because the transaction fees, the block space was not as crowded and congested as it is now, where now you see so much competition for this block space, and you've got these transaction fees starting to soar through the roof, and that's why you have other coins like Nano coming out, going ahead and fixing that with no transaction fees, instant speed, and things of that nature, which is why I'm fairly bullish about Nano. I like a lot of the aspects of their project. I do think they do have a little bit of flaws. I was talking to one of the friends that is a developer, and he talked about the double spending issue that Nano potentially can show within its coding if they don't go ahead and fix that and patch that. So Voodoo said, on the MACD, if there is a lot of sellers / buyers, what do we usually look out for? Trying to learn the fundamentals. Thank you so much. You're really going to be focused on, in the MACD, there's different parts to it. So it stands for the moving average convergence divergence, and it is actually determining the convergence of the moving averages, right? So you've got the moving averages, you've got tons of different moving averages. You got the EMA, which is the exponential moving average. You've got the 3 moving averages, the 50-day, the 100-day, 200-day. So it's actually taking the convergence of that and going ahead and understanding the momentum. It's an oscillator. So what you'll see with the MACD is there's several different aspects to it. You've got the histogram here. This histogram, if it's negative, it's determining the amount of sellers in the market and the strength of the sellers versus the strengths of the buyers. And then this is obviously the buyers. And you can see when we had huge buyers and buy volume here, this is when Bitcoin saw its huge run up. And then now we saw a consolidation with more of the sellers coming into the market, and then nowhere near as much buyers as we previously saw here right around December, which now we saw a lot less buyers and even more sellers right now. We can see in 2018, overall, we've had a lot more sellers than we've had for buyers. And here's one thing that is contributing to this. Recently, over the past couple of months, you've had all of these hedge funds coming out, right? And when you have hedge funds coming out, they're now taking investments from outside sources, accredited investors typically. An accredited investor is somebody that makes at least $200,000 US dollars for at least 2 years or has a $1 million net worth, right? So you've got accredited investors, a lot of doctors, right? They want to protect their wealth. So they'll put a small fraction, a tiny bit into the cryptocurrency market, typically into a hedge fund, because a hedge fund will manage their assets. They'll go ahead and diversify their portfolio. They'll allocate the assets properly, and it's going to be the quote-unquote safest investment for these investors, these individuals like doctors and individuals that have high net worth, have a lot of income, have a lot of liquidity under their belt, but they don't want to lose their wealth, because wealth is something that can be lost. If the currency goes to heck and everything transfers to Bitcoin, now all these doctors, all their money is gone, right? All their trusts, everything is down the drain. So they're very cautious with where they allocate their assets, and they want to make sure they're diversified just in case, right? When you've got millions of dollars. So what ends up happening is you've got these hedge funds that are running these assets, which a lot of these hedge funds have come in 2018 specifically, and this is just one aspect. Now, like, there's tens of different aspects. Like, we can talk about the futures, we can talk about shorting, margin trading, betting against Bitcoin. There's so many different factors here. But understand this. So when the hedge funds are going ahead and doing their monthly reports and they're submitting it to these doctors, right? These doctors are used to typical markets where you can see at least like a 1, 2, 3% gain. But then they look at these reports and they're like, holy crap, this thing went down 20%. Take my money out. And the hedge funds are forced to sell. That's why you're seeing more and more dramatic drops, because now you've got all these hedge funds. If they're putting in large capital in the market and then they're forced to sell it because these doctors or individuals that have wealth, they see their money drop 20%, that freaks them out. They're not used to that. They're freaking out. They're looking at their portfolio and they're like, oh my gosh. So I am very bullish about this whole market long term, but I can certainly tell you there's going to be a lot of hurdles along the way. And especially right now where you've got these hedge funds coming out, where people not really aware of this market, not understanding the type of volatility that encumbers, it's really going to create this type of downfall and up, it's going to create, I wouldn't say downfalls, I'd call it more dramatic price movements, right? More dramatic price movements up, more dramatic price movements down. And that's why in a certain degree, there's going to be volatility, which we can take advantage of. And that's why I'd love to see Bitcoin go ahead and form a horizontal channel. In my opinion, that would be the best case scenario, because we can take advantage of highs and lows with a very predictable price level and go ahead and short. When it's going down, go long. When it's going up, or if you're a traditional trader, just buy low, sell high, and we can go ahead and make those quick 9 to 20, 30, 40% profits depending on how steep that channel is. So somebody says, little late but here. I highly recommend, HR, you go to the front of this video and watch the beginning, man. It was hilarious. Suryan Sine said XDN, digital note technical analysis. XDN. We'll do XDN if it's interesting. Let's see if XDN is interesting to do a technical analysis. But thank you for the super chat, brother. Let's see if XDN is an interesting chart, and then we'll move on to the next one, which is Ripple, which is going to be interesting because I think Ripple... Oh, this is a good chart, actually. I like this. Look at this. We've got a contracting falling wedge here, and we'll go ahead and draw this out. If you guys don't know, somebody said that's a descending triangle. No, it's not. People are so confident with their educated technical analysis. That's not a descending triangle. Understand this. Yeah, I see why you say that, because there's two support levels, but it's not a descending triangle. The overall trend is here. You can't look back here and say, okay, this is where we saw an exuberant run up. This is where we're correcting. It's a descending triangle. No, it makes no sense. Let me show you the descending triangle first of all. So for you that call this a descending triangle, if you look at trading patterns here, man, we got some crazy people here tonight. A descending triangle has an overall support level that's horizontal with a descending resistance. It's not a descending triangle. Look at this. Look at the difference here. When you look at a contracting falling wedge, you have descending support, descending resistance. And by the way, it's a breakout pattern, so that's why I want to talk about this. So descending support, descending resistance. Understand that. Stop saying it's a descending triangle when it's not. That's why you lose money. You have to understand what these patterns are. So we've got this contracting falling wedge forming here. You can see here we're getting closer and closer to that apex. And in my opinion, as we get closer, we'll go ahead and drop some Fibonacci retracements here for y'all so you can have a little bit of a better view of what we're looking at. And we'll go ahead and draw that. We'll use the wicks this time since this has less data. And we'll draw that out right here so you can see exactly what's forming here. We'll actually zoom in here to the 4 hour, get a little bit of a better understanding. This is an interesting chart, and I'll tell you why. It's potentially going to have a little bit of some sort of a breakout soon, in my opinion. If you pull up the 1 day to 2, I don't know if you saw this, but look at this RSI. This RSI just dropped under 30. So now that it's under 30, oversold in my opinion. It looks oversold. MACD, pull up the MACD. Look how little sellers there are. Very little sellers. You can see this is starting to swing. This actually went and it actually stretched further than we saw from this huge drop with all of these sellers. So this is, look, this is fundamental. This is basic technical analysis here. Thank you for super chatting this scene, because this is a really good graph. So looking at this, this makes so much sense. You've got all of these sellers. MACD fast length only goes down to right around, let's see if we can actually pull this up here. We'll actually draw this, put it up a little bit further. It drops all the way down to this level. And then guess what? The fast length now with less sellers is even lower. What does that mean? It's like a rubber band. The MACD actually, it's a moving average convergence. It's a convergence divergence. It's like a rubber band. Whoop! When you pull a rubber band, it's going to pull back. So you can see it's starting to pull back. This is a potential breakout right here. This is a type of trade that I would actually trade, certainly. It's under Fibonacci retracement levels. It just broke the 23. Volume is extremely low, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything when RSI is this low. MACD is starting to pull back. It's not going to take much volume to see this coin see some sort of a run up. How far is it going to go? Who knows? Probably not that far, but it's definitely going to see some upswing sometime soon. And it's also approaching previous support levels. So look at that. You've got a support here right around, looks to be 106 Satoshis. So I would say it's probably going to hit that 106 and then start to see at least a 10 to 20% run up. So good call there, and we'll go ahead and verify that in the next couple of days. Mr. Khan says, what do you think about MT Gox selling all Bitcoin? Man, those trustees, right? If you guys don't know what a trustee is, trustees are individuals that are assigned to manage assets, right? Like MT Gox, for example, they had this huge hack. So now they have to liquidate assets to go ahead and reimburse the previous investors that lost money. And in my opinion, it is what it is. At the end of the day, they're going to have to liquidate it sometime, so they might as well do it now before we really see the big run-up, in my opinion. Vardy says, stop trying your fib in the opposite way. Is that frustrating you? The levels still work, brother. 38 to 23, all of it goes well. MT Gox Trustee haven't sold everything. He still has some. Brace yourselves, Andreas. Somebody says, if we hit 500 likes, will you dye your hair blonde? Why do you guys always want me blonde? Why don't we do red? We'll do red. I'll bet for red. How many? We have like 300 viewers. Oh no! Whoa! We have 400. I don't know. Actually, I can't do that. Oh well, I already said it. Shoot, I can't go back on my word. Dang it! Yo man, I thought I got you guys in this morning or in the beginning of the stream. Gosh, now the likes are going up. Oh my gosh, we might hit 500. That's not good. I might have to have red hair. Look at the. I underestimated the amount of viewers we had. Shoot. I thought because we were streaming on multiple platforms. It said 486, and I look here, it says 483 on YouTube. So I don't know where the other 3, we only have 3 on the other platforms apparently. Wow, that's stupid. Convestis says, oh man, hopefully this, oh my gosh, we just passed 100. What the heck? This is like a freaking game show, man. I started the stream and I'm like, I'm only starting until we hit 20 likes, and we finally hit 20 and I started the stream. So I was like, and I said in the chat, I'm like, I'm betting against you guys now. And now you guys just bet me on, and I think we're going to hit this. I'm going to have to end this stream soon so that we don't hit 500. I don't have to have red hair because I have some meetings coming up. I want to walk into a meeting with my mentors and say, hey guys, I've just turned crazy. I look like the guy that shot up that school. All right, hey, listen, all my heart goes out to those students. I was not offending anybody. Dojin said, I really love this channel. Thank you, Dojin. Somebody says he always promises to do something with his hair for likes. I'm not the one that wants to do it, Dylan. Y'all are the one asking. Go to the chat and look at it. Somebody says it never happens. Yes, it did. I had to go blonde and I had to go bald once. Not bald. I had to shave my head twice already. When we hit 2,000 subscribers, I had to go shave my head, which I did. Actually, I shaved my head twice, and I went blonde. Give me a break. I'm not doing it anymore. I think there's one video. I don't think you can really tell which one it is because I kept the thumbnail with the black hair. I didn't take another picture, but whoever was there when I was blonde. And I said Mastermind. Yes, we'll have a Mastermind. Ruby and Above Mastermind after this. Somebody says, where's your Discord? Our Discord. Guys, you want to join in the Discord? Let's just join in and say hi. Let's just join in. Let's see who's here. Let's see if we got anybody in the Discord. Let's just pop ourselves.
Windy and rainy and everything is, and when it's dark, so it's so annoying weather.
How annoying is it?
Name is joining us.
How annoying is that weather? Like, is it really that dark?
Yeah, it is. Come to Finland in October, something so like that.
I thought Finland had a lot of snow.
Yeah, we have now, but now it's, we are going to head the spring like 1 month, 2 months, and then the, snow is going away.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah, a few days ago it was like a negative 20 degrees Celsius.
So is Bitcoin going to the moon?
Probably someday, but I don't know when.
It's going to the sun.
It's going to the sun? Is Justin's son going to be riding it up there?
Hey, I posted yesterday for you this puzzle.
By the way, if y'all want to chat with me on a daily basis, I just pop in here. Our Discord link is in the description below. It's a free resource. We got a ton of other stuff on there as well. But anyways, outside of that, let's go ahead and drop into our next trade here, XRP BTC. Let's go ahead and see what's forming here. I already did a little bit of an analysis here for myself, actually, but we'll have do one here. What the heck is going on with this? We got to re-establish our MACD there. It's going to the moon. Somebody says LMAO. Booger sugar. Somebody says link to the moon. Naib, how about Nano? I love Nano, the critic. Neo. We'll definitely do Neo. Neo is going to be looking good. Another potential breakout. Why? Look at this. Contracting falling wedge, popping out of it. Volume, you can see still low. Most coins are low in volume right now. You can see, though, how we bounced off of this now bullish RSI. This is what I want to show you here. So this is actually 40 is really where you see RSI go bearish, right? Bearish means you're probably going to drop down to lower lows. So you can see right here where we found some support, right? This is why, by the way, just to like confirm technical analysis, let me show you something here. The reason we dropped down, right, and then we saw this bounce up was because this right here is right around 40. This is where you start to see those bearish levels. Now, I'll tell you what, the RSI, because it's a momentum oscillator, it's measuring the speed and the direction, it's a little bit off in comparison to like something like the Fibonacci, where it's actual mathematical arithmetic data that's actually, you know, calculating the 0.38 and the 0.20. So this right here is more, a little bit less, you know, you can be a little bit more lenient with it, but typically that 39-ish, 30, 40 area right there is where you'll see these swings. So that's why we actually swung back. So 40 is like right around there. Right there, 40, and you can see how we eventually went right above that, broke it, which is very bullish. So this is the one thing about Ripple too. If you're looking at price levels, I think people don't know where to value Ripple. Wouldn't you all agree? Say I if you agree with that. Do people not know where to value Ripple? They're like 25 cents, no, $5, $10, $80. Give me a break. That's a $50 trillion market cap. That math might be off. I was watching a Dave Ramsey video, and he like said like some really quick math, and like the comments were like, that was wrong, that was so wrong. I'm like, dude, even Dave Ramsey gets hate. Oh my god, those likes are about to hit 500. That's not good. So he says Bitcoin taking a poo right now. We talked about that. Somebody says that's crypto, LOL. Crypto Down Under says it's worth $1 million. I think Bitcoin has quite a bit of intrinsic value, in my opinion. In comparison to a lot of these other coins out there, Bitcoin has very much it very much has the potential to see mass adoption, in my opinion, in terms of being a storage of value, just like gold. People will hodl it, right? And that hodling is going to bring prices up, because as demand increases, because demand naturally increases. If you're in real estate, you know, you buy a house, and if you sell it, you're the loser. The buyers always win, because there's market cycles. If you don't know how market cycles look, this is how market cycles look, right? So even in real estate, market cycles, yes, it might consolidate. Yes, it might go down, but it always ends up going higher, and there's always this ascending. You know what? Why don't, instead of we just draw it out, let's just pull up NASDAQ. We'll do the S&P. Why don't we do the S&P 500? People know about the S&P. It's been around for a while. Mr. Warren Buffett, second richest man in the world, bet himself in the S&P, made tons of money. So let's pull up 1 month chart so we can get a real view. So look at this, market cycles, just like what I drew out. Look at that. This is market cycles. You get, see, at first they were small, economy boom, bam, market cycles. So now we're due for another correction. You can see volume increasing continuously, right? Why? Because the more people in the world, the more demand for everything, right? Land, resources, products, services, home, supplies, bath and body work stuff, like everything needs to increase in demand if there's more people, right? And that's the same thing you're going to see in any market. So you pull up BTC USD, same exact thing. So pulling up XRP, let's go back to topic here. Somebody says, are we considered early adopters? Yes. If you guys don't know, there's actually the book called Crossing the Chasm. It's a really good marketing book. It talks about how to reach mass adoption. So currently, where we're at, we've passed the innovator phase, which the innovator phase is really where you get like Vitalik Buterin, you've got like Roger Ver, you've got all the original developers of Bitcoin, which Bitcoin is now outgrew the developers that it started with, which is a great thing. It's like any company, right? When a company usually is a startup, you've got a CEO, you've got a team, but as that company ends up growing, typically that CEO, that team is deemed useless because you put somebody better in charge because it just grows so much that you can't, that person that started it is just not good enough to take it to the next level. That's why you see with Uber, you see Travis getting fired as CEO. He's founded it, he gets fired, and you put in a different person. You put in, what was it, Mr. Dara, whatever, from Expedia, is now the CEO of Uber. So, you know, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin, it started off with a group of developers and then eventually advanced itself and outgrew its developers. And that's why the blockchain itself is seeing a lot more demand. That's why transaction speeds are a lot slower. Transaction fees are a lot higher. Now you've got these issues, but these issues are good. They're not bad issues. It's just that with the market in the state that we're in, like what I was talking about, the hedge funds being forced to sell because you've got individuals investing in these hedge funds. I think there was like dozens, if not hundreds of hedge funds registered over the past couple of months alone. So all of this is happening in 2018. That's why you're seeing what you're seeing in the market. But understand, I'm very bullish long-term. Very bullish long-term. It's just we're going to see a little bit of some setbacks until we can get something that's a little bit more confident in terms of market sentiment. And what I mean by that is like the doctors that are investing in these hedge funds and then seeing a report and saying, oh my gosh, 20% down, let me take my money out. They need to start realizing, okay, but this is not like a 1 month investment. This is a long-term investment. So that's why you're going to be seeing this type of volatility. Somebody says, jokes on him. On who? I want to know about the joke. Alex Crypto TV, Mahmar Jampa, Hungry Probe in the house, Harrison Gibbert, Space Bird. So yes, we're breaking out of this contracting falling wedge, bullish MACD, RSI, bullish RSI, and then this is also very bullish in my opinion as well. If you pull up the 1 day, you can see XRP, if we were to zoom out, very little in terms of sellers, and then MACD, fast length, already crossed over. Once that crossover occurs, we can most likely see this MACD starting to go ahead and cross back over. You can see buyers are just starting to come in. So I'm pretty bullish about Ripple over the next couple of days. But at the end of the day, you have to understand the market is very, very crucial. It's in a crucial state right now, and it's unhealthy in a lot of ways. And I think we just need to wait it out a little bit longer to ensure we find a bottom before making out these calls. Because if we just rush into things, and we'll kind of continue this conversation in the mastermind tonight, but if we rush into things, it will really put us in a bad position if we start to consolidate to these lower lows like around 6,000, because at that point you're going to be losing satoshis, you're going to be losing USD value, and in my opinion it's going to be harder to regain profit. So I'm going to start dollar cost averaging and making those calls, but I think we still need to see a little bit more of a decline to be able to go ahead and confidently make those calls. And I think Bitcoin right now is the coin to watch in comparison to all of these other coins in general. So hopefully that has helped in some way, shape, or form. Did you guys enjoy? Somebody says book giveaway. You guys want to give away a book? Who wants to win a book on the stream? YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook book giveaway. Let's do a book giveaway. We'll give away the Internet of Money by Andreas Ontompanales, which is right over here. If you all don't know what book this is, we'll go ahead and ask a question to see who is paying attention tonight. And the question is going to be this: in regards to becoming a legitimate, like for something to be deemed as a security, what is the primary test that it has to pass in order to be deemed a security? Let's go ahead and see who wins this book. Cognition said, "You rock." Thank you, brother. Ron Thomas, Tommy B, Tony in the house, Emma Rose, good to have you. Sarkis in the house, Kimberly is here. Good to have you, Kimberly. M25, Sam, Fresh to Salt, Andreas, Mivan, Eco, Graphics is in the house. Carlos Romero, Ya, Rishi. Look at that. Everybody. Dehan. I'm not reading any of the book comments yet. I'm just scrolling up, but I'll go back down and we'll pick a winner. Let's see who wins. So, let's see. Bam! Okay, I see somebody did it. Somebody said it. Let me see who is the first one on my screen. On my screen, it says, let's see. I'm going to scroll down. Wow, nobody's getting it. That's right. Store of value, stability. No. No. Somebody said, thanks for the book. You're very welcome. Voodoo Red said, store of value. No. 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 Neo. No. Somebody said, value. G said, asset. Josiah said, promising future value. No. FML Dita. No. Oh, wait. I think, no, he didn't spell it right. You got to spell it right. JC from YouTube. Howey test. The Howey test. The Howey test. Remember, the Howey test. We talked about it right here. Remember the Howey test? Look, the Howey test. Look, Howey test. Howey test. Howey test. Shout out to JC. Send me a message on Twitter, the Snipers Tube Twitter. You can win that book. We're going to be heading over to our Discord for all of you watching right now. We have over 100 people in our main voice chat, and we're going to have several dozen in our mastermind tonight. So if you're a Ruby and above, go ahead and join in right now to the Ruby and above. And we'll go ahead and start that up soon. We got over 93 here. So this is a free resource. All of you can join this right now. Link is right over here next to the trade alerts link. Trade alerts are for trade signals, buy and sells, all that. And then the Patreon or the Discord is the other link with the / crazy numbers. But hopefully y'all enjoyed this. I am excited to do this master. Oh my gosh, this thing is blowing up. Look at that. We got some people already joining in there. And so I love to see y'all there. Did you all enjoy the night? Somebody says, Neo. Yeah, we got to do Neo. Let's do Neo. Somebody says, you're annoying. K-Fin. K-Fin! Congratulations! You just got the ban hammer! Man, I love it. I love it. We got like 99% of the people like, thank you, Naeem. Like, this is helping out. This is great. And I love that. You know, that feeds me. I can't get enough of that. That helps, you know, really, especially when you got people like K-Fin who have gray matter missing from their brain. And that's deemed, you know, I'm not going to get into psychopathy, but we don't have to talk about gray matter and narcissism here. But anyways, let's go. Everybody says snipers in town. Yes, yes. Voodoo says, thank you so much for doing this every night, my PST time zone. You're very welcome. We're going to be doing Neo BTC for sure. I forgot. Sorry. I always forget, but that's good because it ends it on a high note. But yeah, I already have an analysis here, so I can go through this pretty quick. I already looked at this. If you see here with sell volume extremely high for Neo, I think the reason we're seeing this is because there's a lot of FUD spread around recently about Neo. Something about like their blockchain and all this stuff. And I was reading it and I was just like, this is the same stuff Ethereum went through. But look what Ethereum has become, right? Any sort of development project is going to have some sort of hurdles. Doesn't mean you got to start selling out and spreading FUD. But I'll tell you why people spread FUD. Most people, listen, this will help everyone. Most people will spread FUD because they know they can get lower prices. And when they can get lower prices, they can put in a lot more money and then go ahead and make a lot more profits when they have FUD spread around and money and, you know, money like coming out of that, liquidating from that asset, which in this case is Neo. So people will do that. Understand this world is vicious, and people will literally go on Reddit and they will pay and promote FUD as long as it sounds legitimate, in my opinion. Like, so, oh, yo, the developer team, yeah, they've got this bug and that's it. Neo's done. Oh my gosh, Neo's done? What? No. Oh, I've got all my, no, I'm selling. And then person's like sitting there in the back. He's like, all right, perfect. Buy. I'm telling you, man, you guys want to know how the market's looking right now? This is how the market's looking. And I'll see some of you in the night owl.
This is the greatest thrill of my life. I'm king of the world. Ah!